It feels a lot like your soul is very peaceful. It's come here to experience a lot of peace. You're supposed to find peace even in the chaos. There are mirroring things in this life from that past life that you've come to heal with this person.
You're strong. I mean, you can even, like pull yourself up without even having your feet touch anything.
I find that even in your current life right now, it's still important for you to use your voice.
What I'm getting is that you want a love that you can contribute to. You're asking for like platinum, so you can't accept the copper when it shows up, even though it's pretty too.
You are being pushed outside your comfort zone to seek new heights.
And you are true to yourself and you're true to others around you as you live your authentic life. You are just you, and that is all you need to open up. We need you to speak your truth, Katrina.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back.
It's like it's in my face so I can see, but then I can't see the fucking thing. All right. So, this is the second episode in my past life series. Today, we're going to be talking about... Okay, initially I thought I was going to present these in the order of the way they went through the reading. So I'm going to end up having 6 episodes that are just based on one reading, because in this one reading, 6 different past lives came through that I want to share to set the tone. All right, so through this, okay, how are we going to say this? Okay, so this is the second episode in my series. We're going to talk about the past life in the Civil War. Now, there's going to be 6 parts of this. Okay, there were 6 past lives that came up in this one reading. So far, I played the Switzerland one. The Switzerland was the very first reading that came up. The second one, I think, was in India. The third one was in ancient Egypt. The fourth one was the alien life. And then the 5th one was the Civil War one, which is the one we're about to go into. And the 6th one was Brazil. The reason why I'm going to jump over to the Civil War episode and then the Brazil episode is because it turned out through the reading that the very first past life was about a past life that I shared with my then, at the time of the reading, boyfriend. So as I went through the reading, and I don't know if you remember, I said that V does readings where she's like, for the past life reading, she'll ask you, do you want to know about specific people, or do you just want to know what comes up, whatever your guides and angels want to, talk about. So I chose my guides and angels to just run the show. And then toward the end of the reading, I asked her about my then boyfriend. So I'm going to play you the first, so you'll hear me asking about, my boyfriend, and then she's going to go into the past life, and then we're going to talk about it.
Can I ask about my boyfriend?
Yes, please do.
Well, his name is...
Okay.
I was just curious if we had any past life funness, that could contribute to, what our journey is here in this life.
Yes. Okay. Let's see. Ooh, okay. So what I'm looking at is Civil War time here in America. Actually, this isn't that far though. I mean, in my opinion, time relative compared to the ancient times, Civil War is not that long compared to ancient energy, but Civil War. So here in America, he's wearing the blue. So I think that's the north side. I think it's the blue. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a history person, but I see him in a blue coat with a gun. I think the blue is the Union. I think it's Confederate versus the Yankee, whatever the fuck it is. Not Confederate, the opposite. Anyway, he's wearing his little soldier outfit. So he's a soldier and he's wearing, it's all blue. He has a rifle on him. And what's interesting is in this lifetime, not in this current one, in that lifetime, I keep seeing an image of him. Other than the war stuff, I'm trying to see how you play a role, because now I'm just looking into him. Oh, snap. Here's where it is. Okay. You guys were brother and sister. Can you believe it? Not even like romantic, brother and sister. And so what's interesting is, as a child, both of you were very close. You guys, it was only you two. You guys didn't have any other siblings. It was only you two. You guys were born in New York State. Okay, so not city. This is like in the country part, I would say. They said near upstate New York, like Syracuse, over in that area. And so you're in upstate New York, and it was very cold, all this snow. You loved the snow though. You did. You really loved the snow. He hated it. And so it was like, you would always like drag him, like, come on, let's go out. And he's like, oh my gosh, And so, but you guys had a very close relationship. He was your older brother only by 2 years. So it wasn't that big of an age difference. And so you guys had a lot in common personality wise. In that lifetime, you were a very spunky, fiery person. Like, you're like, no nonsense. I don't want to hear it. You don't take no for an answer. So anytime you like whine and complain, you're like, nope, don't want to hear it. We're going. So you would always take him on some kind of adventure. You guys lived by woods. So your back of your home was nothing but woods. And he was a hunter as well. That's kind of what led him to the army, ironically, was that he was already hunting. He was already a hunter. And so he was doing, with doing all that, hunting and things like that. He would also try to teach you. That's another thing. Even though you were a girl, and that time, most people were like, don't teach your sister. He didn't care. So it's like he taught you everything that he would know. He's like, hey, you never know. You might need to survive out here. So he was like, he had a lot of good survival instincts. He knew things like normal people wanted. And that's because he spent a lot of his time in the woods. And so he would know, like, okay, the wind is this way, so we're going to have to go this way. Like, he was that kind of person. And so he loved teaching you anything to help you out. He really had a really good heart. So it's like you guys were kind of a little bit opposite. You were very fiery, like to the point, no nonsense. And when Spirit says you were very aggressive, by the way, you're very assertive. You're very aggressive. And where he was kind of like, he was way more chill, but he didn't mind your aggression because it kind of gave him something to look forward to. It's like, oh, well, because he's so fucking chill. So the opposites attract kind of thing, even though you guys were brother and sister. And as I'm looking later, like how it went, he was in the war. Remember the Civil War, whenever that was. I know it was like what? I don't know. Civil War. So, or it felt like the Civil War. Was it something else? No, it felt like it. But yeah, both of you guys were white at that time. And so what's interesting is once he had to go to war, it just felt like it was really hard for you. You had separation anxiety. He was your only friend, honestly. Yes, he was your brother, but he was also your only friend. Your parents in that lifetime, your mother in that lifetime, she was very, very needy. And so she was always like nitpicky, like on you about little things. And you're just like, you guys would bicker and argue a lot. And what he would normally interject and kind of like get the peace, but without him being there, it's like you and your mom would just keep going, whatever. What's interesting is, and this is what's interesting, you ended up getting, while he was in the war for some years, you ended up getting married. Okay. When he came back, he didn't like the guy you married. And so the reason being was that the man ended up having like another girl on the side, and your brother saw him with another girl with his own eyes, or ended up seeing the guy with another woman. And so he never was like confrontational like you are, but he actually ended up shooting your freaking husband.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but he didn't kill him. He shot him in like the leg, but the guy had to be an amputee because of being shot by. And so what's interesting is was extremely protective over you. He was extremely, your friendship was, I would say, and even I would even go to say, even till this day, your friendship is the best foundation ever for anything. You guys being able, romance aside, having that true friendship is what leads and what has kept you guys together. And the reason why I'm saying that is because yes, he was protective of yes, the guy had to get his leg amputated and all that crazy stuff, but you were really excited, like, well, at least someone cared about me enough to do it. So it's like you actually felt really good that your brother, aka
shot my husband.
Yeah, literally came to your rescue, and it's like really like saving. He says it's really, he's like, and and that life was really trying to preserve your honor, that like, nah, don't let no man just cheat on your ass. Like, you deserve more than that. You don't need a man who's just going to cheat on you. You're a wonderful person. And so he was always building you up, especially after finding out that he cheated and he had other girls, and why he even had another wife out there and you didn't know it. So it was like one of those kind of scenarios. And so here comes coming in trying to save your ass, basically. And so he was just he saw you and knew your worth. Yes, he was your brother. Of course, he grew up with you, but he knew your worth, and he knew that you deserved to be with a man who won't cheat, who won't do anything weird like that, and just genuinely had your best interest. He did. And you know what's interesting? Ended up marrying one of your friends. It's kind of like interesting how that worked out. And what's interesting is both of you lived right next door to each other. So you both were so glued to each other to the point where it's like, is this even healthy? You know, I mean, you're my brother. Like, what the hell? Why are we so like, you know, we can't be out of each other's face? And it's not like a possessiveness. It wasn't like that. It was just kind of like, I genuinely value as a human being, beyond the titles, beyond brother, sister. It's just as a human being, you were there for me and we're there for each other. Why not? Let's not judge ourselves for, and I'm not saying judge yourselves like you guys did anything like incest, nothing weird like that. But I would say that you guys had a very, very close friendship beyond just, you know, brother and sister. And so spirits, the reason why they're bringing this lifetime up is they're saying that your friendship, they keep mentioning the word friendship and having like, you know what I mean? Without romance, you know, not everything's gonna be romantic, because they said he can be very like, poke fun. Do you know what I'm saying? Poke fun, like brother and sister, like, you know, like cheer up, and like very playful. I feel like he can be very playful, like siblings, you know, in a way, like, hey, we're doing this, and hey, let's do this, and you know, he has a playfulness to him, but he has a seriousness to him, you know. And so it's like sometimes you go from, you know, both to both. I feel like even in this lifetime, I feel like he can be very serious, and then it could be like, line up, let's go out, you know. And it feels like sometimes I see an image of him in the house in this current lifetime where he's like, I don't want to. I just want to, like, you know, stay in. And then, and then you're the one kind of like when you were his sister, like, no, let's just come on, let's go, you know. So it's kind of funny how that dynamic still kind of shows up in your current lifetime.
This is gonna make me cry, guys. I love this boy so much. Okay. So a few things with regards to this reading that I felt like really, really, really was, you know, really stuck out from that past life dynamic and the current life dynamic that we shared, you know, when we came back together in this life. First of all, here she's like, friendship and your friendship and da-da-da-da. I knew when she said this, I'd moved too fast in the relationship. So I had mistaken that feeling that I got before I met him to believe, because I'm a hopeless romantic, guys. Like, if I see anything resembling a Nicholas Sparks romance novel, I'm in. I'm all the way in. So I took that feeling to mean that we were supposed to be, you know, romantic partners, because I'd felt like at that point that I'd done all this work and blah, 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 blah. But there were so many other things that he came into this experience to teach me. And I can feel, you know, it's like it's this relationship, and then it's also the last relationship. So I want to talk about a couple things that came out. First of all, how tight we were. Again, so in the other life in Switzerland, we were super tight. I felt like he was all I needed, you know, whatever. And this particular life, again, we're brother and sister. We're tight as fuck. We even, as we grew up, we ended up living next to each other, right? So kind of how that showed up in our relationship in this dynamic was, you know, I have kids in a couple of businesses in California. So when I moved out to Colorado, I was flying out to California every 2 weeks, and I was spending usually between 4 and 6 days out here in California. Once I gave up my house out here, I was just sleeping on my ex-husband's couch. Now, anybody who knows my ex-husband and I, you know, which mostly is our kids, is that we just have a cool ass relationship. My ex-husband is like, now it's almost like, and he probably would be grossed out to hear this, but I feel like he's more of like a father/brother figure, just meaning that like he provides a solid ground that I can go to when the whole world is whatever. He doesn't ask me no questions. He's not in my fucking business. We just know how to be in each other's, experience, and just like kind of be supportive of each other with our hands off. So I don't know. It's just weird. But he, my ex was not, he struggled really, really, really bad with the separation. And I did too, honestly. I didn't love it. But my kids are important to me and my businesses are important to me. So, you know, it was something that had to be done, but it ended up becoming a problem that I feel like that lingering need for him and I to just be together all the time kind of fucked things up in this life, because he wasn't willing to get on the fucking airplane with me and come back to California, which he could have done. I would have paid for it. Like, bring your ass, get on the airplane, you go sleep on the couch with me at Jay's house. And Jay would have been all about that. Like, whatever. So I have a really good relationship with his girlfriend. You know, we have a really good co-parenting situation, and there's just none of that dick and pussy grossness that exists, you know, in the relationship with exes. And like, spoiler alert, I did get a past life reading on him. So further along in this series, and I mean way further along, you'll get to hear some past life experiences that I had with Jay. So anyway. So yeah, that whole tightness that we had and how that kind of showed up, it kind of ended up detrimental. And I kind of realized that I should have just really taken things slow with him. Just started out as friends and just like been of service and been in his life without that romantic expectation, because I feel like I thought I was ready. And so I jumped into it without doing any recon to figure out if he was ready, you know, because he had just come out of something really traumatic and was dealing with his own stuff. And it just, the timing wasn't right. So it is what it is. The building me up, the way he shot my ex-husband for being not my ex-husband, the way he shot my husband in that life, obviously, for cheating on me. So, okay, all right, so I have to like rewind here. So we have the relationship with him, and then we had the previous relationship, which, like I said, we were together for 2 years, and there was a lot of stuff that, whatever. So that relationship with that person, he was very much that energy of like, look, one woman is not enough for me. I need variety, blah, 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 blah. I was like, I'm good with it. Even though that's because I was still in that state of the unhealed childhood trauma, not recognizing that I actually did want somebody who I was enough for, and then not having the courage to say it, because again, we make ourselves, I had learned to make myself small so that I can fit into situations that I think I want to be in. Big mistake. So one of the gifts that he gave me in this life is the time that I spent with this particular ex that this past life reading is about, is he did show me unequivocally that I could be enough for someone, that I was more than enough for someone. He never for a second let me feel like he wanted anyone else, like he needed anyone else. He was just good. Like, you know what? You're it. And we really had that energy together where it made sense, because like on paper, again, you know, there were certain things about us that didn't quite line up, right? He had already accomplished everything that he wanted to accomplish. He had zero interest in traveling the world and doing all the shit that I wanted to do, because he was done. He knew exactly what he wanted, and he had already accomplished it. Where for me, you know, I still have that like nomadic sort of, you know, energy. So he came into this life and he showed me what it would feel like to be with somebody who I was enough for. And he was the first person that I was with that really gave me that experience of, you are all I need. Like the experience that I had thought I'd given the last person that I was with, I finally got that back, and I got to see what it felt like. I also kind of learned, like, every relationship I've been with has given me a segment or a few segments, depending on the relationship, of the dynamic that I'm looking for, you know, on a long-term basis. And this was a big one for me. This was one that, like I said, at 16, I was told that this wasn't possible, and I accepted it. If you've read the 4 agreements, you know something is not real until you agree. I have agreed to way too much shit in this life, and a lot of this has been me learning to disagree with some of the things that I picked up along the way, because sometimes these rules that we create from our experiences don't really serve us. They actually hold us away. They actually hold us apart from what we want. Because if I just accept that, then every guy that comes into my experience is going to have other bitches. And guess what? That's what was happening to me, because I agreed with that first person. Every partner that I had called into my experience, you know, thereafter had that element. And it was because of my belief system. Love that. All right. That advice that he gave me, that I was worth, you know, this, and then I deserved somebody to treat me kindly, and I deserved to not be cheated on and whatnot. That energy just kind of goes back to what I was just saying, you know, with, I feel like a big part of him coming in, you know, and doing this time with me in this incarnation was to remind me. It was like, okay, bitch, you say you want this, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to come into your experience. This is what I imagine our pre-birth planning conversation looked like. I'm going to come into your experience and you're going to feel all the beautiful things from all the beautiful lives that we've shared together. And we're going to heal some shit and we're going to do some stuff, but I'm going to push you away because I'm going to be a test for you. I'm going to test you to see if you really, really, really want what you say you want, or if I can get you to settle. Because I got to tell you, I could have decided, you know what? I don't want to travel the world, fuck building a house in the mountains, blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to marry him and stay here. I could have done that, you know, but then again, another pattern would have been me settling for a relationship where I could basically be 5 to 10% of myself, which is not what the fuck I came here for, guys. I came here for the whole package. Okay. Now that I realize that, you know, we reincarnate by choice, and I kind of look at my life and I'm like, ooh, I gave myself a lot of like room for beauty and to, you know, like, do I really want to lose out on the advantage of this incarnation? Like, look at this dude. I am a mixed chick that lives in Southern California. I'm a business owner. I am a mom. Like, I have all these freedoms and all this ability to create, and I don't want to waste it. So that was like a big deal, you know, with reconnecting with him. I hope I'm doing a good job of not saying his name, because it was so much fucking work to go through and bleep out all of his names through that thing. And I could probably ask him if I could use his name. He probably wouldn't mind, and I wouldn't mind either. Honestly, if you look on my Instagram, he's all over it. So, okay, let's see. Protector. The way that he was very protective of me. And okay, so that was another thing that showed up in our experience. As soon as I met him, I felt so safe with him. And I remember calling my girlfriend, and I was like, girl, you're not going to believe, you know, this energy that you know, this man that I've met and this dynamic. And she was like, so we talked or whatever. And she was like, tell him I said to keep you safe. And I was like, he said, to, you know, I told him he was sitting over on the thing. She said to keep me safe. And he was like, he said something. I don't remember the words verbatim, but it was like, I will fucking die before anything happens. And he meant it. Like, I've had guys like, oh, I'll die for you, but then they like can't stop fucking other bitches, or, oh, I'll die for you, but you know, then they're lying to me about dumb shit, you know, like, miss me with all that, oh, I'll die for you, but I can't show up for you in life, right? He said that shit, and I believed it with every fucking fiber. It was almost like, just like, whoa. I remember just being so woed by the energy that him and I shared immediately. Also, very strong telepathic connection, which I'm sure I talked about in the soulmate episode. All right, so the protector, the friendship I talked about, the love of the snow, that was a big deal in this life. In this life, both of us loved the fucking snow. We literally, I feel like I rode at least 90 days that last season. We would get up every fucking day and we were snowboarding, and it was magic and it was love, and it was so amazing. I had so much fun with him. Like, that whole, you know, brother-sister dynamic and the playing outside. And then also that whole thing of him teaching me stuff, even though I was a girl, and, you know, I shouldn't, you know, in that time, like, he shouldn't have been teaching me how to hunt and how to do all these things. And he was like, you never know, you're gonna have to protect yourself. I came into this life with that mentality. So I feel like a lot of that may have carried over from that life that I had with him, because he taught me a bunch of different shit, you know. And in this life, okay. Now I forgot what I was talking about. We were just talking about I was talking about the snow, how much we both love the snow in this life. Oh, the energy of wanting to learn. I love to learn. Since I was little, I've taken things apart, you know, CD players, VCRs, toasters, and put things back together. Growing up, like, once I got divorced and I got out of like just constantly working a 9 to 5 and just being on the wheel of, you know, societal expectations, once I got off that and I started like rediscovering myself and learning about what I was interested, I'm really interested in hunting. Like, I really want to take, you know, want to go to guide school, and I want to learn all these things that I think on a soul level I already know. I think that they just brought me a lot of joy in doing those things in other lives. And I think that's why, like, I'm so drawn to that energy in this life, because of the time I spent with him. Like, and what was also crazy, you know, about him being a hunter and all that stuff, when we were together, we would play Red Dead all the fucking time, and we'd go hunting, and, you know, we'd catch, oh gosh, like, it was almost like we came together in this life, and some of the aspects of this particular past life would show up in some of our gaming. So really, really, really cool. Other stuff, yeah. Video games, my love of learning, despite being a girl, because we talked about that. Oh, my aggressiveness. and him being all grounded. So that was very true in this life. So I may or may not have mentioned I am a Sagittarius sun. My rising sign is Taurus. My moon is in Leo. So, and then I have a bunch of placements in Sag. Like, I know my Mercury's in Sag, and there's some other Sag stuff happening. But he was very grounded in this life. And sometimes it would drive me crazy because he was grounded in beliefs that to me I had like outgrown. And he was just so grounded in this, like, what I perceived to be like 3D witness, you know, and he would just, it was literally like a tug of war with us, because I'd be like trying to like hypnotize him and get him to be more hippie-ish, you know, and I would do a lot of energy healing on him. And like, because he had, you know, because he was like a badass snowboarder. Like, I snowboard, meaning I can get on a snowboard and I like going fast. It brings me a lot of joy. It makes me feel like I'm flying. I feel like a superhero. I love listening to music. But he could do all the tricks. He could do the jumps and the spins and the fucking numbers. He would always tell me about numbers that I didn't understand, 5s and 7s and shit. I don't know what any of that means. I'm not that kind of snowboarder. I don't care. I just like to have fun. But his style of fun resulted in broken bones regularly. And so I would do energy healing on him to like, you know, reduce some of his pain, because he didn't want to go to the doctor ever, which drove me crazy. Anyway, the pattern of him being my only friend. Okay, so once again, we have a life where a huge part of our dynamic is, okay, here we have another life where we found peace in each other and stopped looking at really anything outside. You know, like, he married my girlfriend. We lived next door to each other. She didn't mention if I got remarried after he shot my husband, but I kind of feel like I might not have. I don't know, you know? So I thought that was really interesting too. So again, but the subtext there for spirit was like, they were telling me, like, this energy that you have to want to be around him all the time, first of all, is not going to serve you in the long run, right? Because you will end up resenting him if you don't accomplish all the dreams that you know you can accomplish. You're already like, you know, it stopping me, it distracting me, it taking me away from, you know, the other things that bring me joy, or the other things that I'm trying to accomplish. That did happen. I already mentioned that though. So yeah, so that was pretty much the energy for that particular life. Super cool. This is a much shorter episode. God, it does break my heart though, you know, listening to this and like kind of reliving the energy between him and Di, and just like knowing like that he can't be in my life now because it's just whatever. It doesn't matter the details. It's just, I feel like on a soul level, his soul really wanted to push me away, because I would have stayed. I would have hung on, and then I would have gotten so much less accomplished. I wouldn't have been able to dial into, for example, like when I moved in with him, you know, I told him like, listen, I'm on a very unique journey, and by unique, I just meant not mainstream, right? Because I was trying to like communicate, you know, to him who I was, and I'm wanting to do this and wanting to do that. And then he was like, yeah, I'll support you no matter what you do. And he meant that. But once we were together, all we wanted to do was be together and play together and have fun together. And then, yeah. So anyway, super interesting how, again, you know, it just kind of shows the way different aspects of different past lives show up in our current life. And again, for me, a huge lesson, huge, because I am so sensitive and I do have the ability to feel these lingering past life energies. It has really helped me kind of distinguish, you know, almost like the difference between when you're when you get a message from spirit and when it's your ego working something out. It's kind of the same energy, but it's like, it's helping me decipher when I'm connected to someone, what is justified from this incarnation and what's probably just old shit coming up again, you know? Because, yeah. Anyway. All right, guys. That's it.